How much insurance do I need for my property? We get that question a lot, and we're going to answer it in this video. Check it out. This is Nick Kristoff with the Kristoff team, and I got some information today about insurance, property insurance, and particularly the coverage amounts that are required for mortgage loans. So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. I'll let you know that what I'm going to focus on is the Fannie Mae guidelines. Jumbo loans, some different kind of loan programs might have different insurance requirements, and they might vary. So you got to speak directly with your lender to figure out what the exact ones are. But in general, a lot of lenders follow the Fannie Mae guidelines. And obviously, if it's a conventional conforming loan, it's going to be a Fannie Mae product. Maybe it's certainly going to be following these guidelines. So these are a great starting point if they're not going to be your official guidelines to go off of. But I've got also a spreadsheet that we're going to take a look at here, and it makes it super easy. You can plug in two numbers. One is the amount of the mortgage that you're going to get, so that's easily known. You just plug in that field. The other one is the insurable value of the property. So that's going to be something that's determined ultimately by the insurer. So Fannie Mae uses the insurable value of the property as determined by your insurance company. But for the purpose of kind of doing some of these calculations, we can just plug something in as an estimate. It is important to keep in mind that the insurable value is not the same as the purchase price or appraised value or something like that. If you think about, okay, if we have a property that say is oceanfront, a small home maybe on a large piece of land, the land may have a lot of value that is not insured by a typical homeowner's insurance policy. The structure is what's insured. So if you have a scenario where, okay, it's a $600,000 piece of property, and the structure itself may be worth $500,000 or something like that, or in extreme cases you could have a $1.5 million valuation on property and a $300,000 home that's built on there. There's a huge land value in that case. So keep that in mind. The calculations we're going to do are going to be based on insurable value of the property, not the appraised value or the purchase price, and that is what Fannie Mae goes off of. So just keep that in mind when we're looking at these examples, or if you're using it to plug in and estimate, use the insurable value or estimate the insurable value of the structure, the piece of property itself. So let's go ahead and take a look then at some examples and see how it works. So let's see here. This is the Excel or a spreadsheet I've put together, just that you can download it right from our website. And these are the two fields I was talking about. They're super easy. You're just going to be able to plug in these two numbers, and then all of the rest of this will calculate. And the other thing that I've included in here just as a reference is, I told you these are the Fannie Mae. We're doing this calculation based on the Fannie Mae guidelines. So as of December 4th, 2019, I've just copied and pasted really what the Fannie Mae guideline is. So for properties basically that are secured individually with an insurance policy, what that really means is what I made a note of up here. It's more or less single family homes and townhomes. Condos are insured a little differently, and so they will have some different insurance requirements, but a single family home or townhome is more or less going to follow these rules. So let's take a look. If we get an example, and we talked about one, so let's say that we have a property that is $600,000 in total value. Maybe that's a $600,000 purchase price, but the land's worth $100,000 and the structure itself then is worth maybe $500,000. So if we plug $500,000 in here, we've got $500,000 then for the total insurable value. And we say, okay, how much of a mortgage loan? Well, we could pick really any number that's there, but say they're getting a loan for $475,000. This little cheat sheet will basically do the calculation and let you know that, okay, here are the inputs that are being used. $500,000 the insurable value. 80% of that insurable value, it does that calculation for you. And then it just takes literally the input of $475,000 for the mortgage loan amount. And then there's 3 steps it walks through to determine whether or not the insurable value is less than the mortgage amount, which in this case, it's not. Insurable value is $500,000, mortgage amount is $475,000, so it is not less. Step 2, ask the question of whether or not the mortgage amount is greater than or equal to 80% of the insurable value. So in this case, we look and say, okay, is the mortgage amount greater than that? $400,000? Absolutely it is. Therefore, $475,000 in this example is the amount of coverage that would be required per Fannie Mae guidelines. If we did the same exact thing but said, okay, what if the mortgage was only $375? In that case, it would not be greater than 80% of the insurable value. And we would drop to step 3 and basically say, okay, it's the insurable value, 80% of the insurable value rather, that is greater than the loan amount, and therefore it is 80% of the insurable value that Fannie Mae would require as the actual amount of insurance coverage that's required. So honestly, it's not too complicated, particularly when the rules are all broken down in a simple sheet like this. So this spreadsheet is available on our website. You can plug it in, you can mess with the numbers, get an idea of at least what would be required on a Fannie Mae loan. It's a good indication of what insurance requirements would be needed. For anything specific, or you've got an unusual situation, reach out to the Kristoff team, reach out to your insurer. We can get you more specifics or connect you with someone who can. We are certainly not licensed insurance agents, but we just do a lot of loans and see these scenarios a whole bunch. So want to give you the feedback because that question's been coming up a whole lot. Got other questions? Reach out to the Kristoff team. We'd love to talk with you. Thanks so much.